All right. This is Ainsley Battles with Todd Peter, Transitional Story.
Yeah.
So here with good friend Todd Peter from Vanderbilt, played tennis at Vanderbilt. He's been just so gracious enough just to share his time with us. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I played tennis at Vanderbilt, and Ainsley and I became friends just through athletics there, and loved coming to watch you play at the games at Vanderbilt Stadium. It was awesome. Obviously, Ainsley had a great career in the professional level as well. So I'm now a real estate agent for Sotheby's International Realty in Palm Beach, Florida. It's a great market to be in, to sell luxury homes, and love what I'm doing, and have two great kids and a great wife. And
so first, how long have you been in real estate?
So I've been in real estate since 2003. That's when I first got my real estate license. And then I went on to actually go to graduate school at the University of Florida and get a master's in real estate. So stayed in the SEC, and got a master's in real estate, and went on to do some development, work for a couple development companies, and actually saw some friends of mine making very good money doing real estate sales. So I kind of said, well, I had in my mind that I really wanted to get an education, go get a master's degree, and go work in development. I thought that's kind of what I was supposed to do. It turns out my skill set was really kind of geared more towards working with people, and kind of going back to our days at Vanderbilt and human and organizational development, which is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's like a business major, but it's more focused on relationships, small group behavior, and kind of team dynamics. So I saw some friends of mine doing very well in residential sales. Kind of resisted getting into that segment of the business, the real estate world, but I eventually got into it after I worked for a couple developers, and initially had my own company, and then decided that I wanted to join Sotheby's after I started dating my girlfriend, now wife, Frances, who was already working for Sotheby's, and kind of the rest is history. But we've had very good success here in Palm Beach Island selling luxury real estate, and but I would say, some of the things that I learned playing tennis, thinking back to that time in my life, tennis is a different sport. I mean, it's not unlike other sports where, there's a lot of self-reliance, you got self-discipline, you learn, hard work and all that kind of stuff. But tennis is pretty unique because you are on the court by yourself. I mean, there's no other teammates to, kind of shoulder the blame. You can't say I didn't get the ball. You're the only one out there. So if it goes well, all that success is yours. If it does not go well, guess what? All that failure and everything that led up to that point to that failure is, you also have to own that too. But I think the biggest thing I would take away from being a college athlete, and really, going up through the junior ranks of college tennis, and through my whole life playing since I was 4, it really teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to compete. And really, at the end of the day, I think that it's doing all the things when nobody's watching, right? It's putting in the extra hours. It's staying late at the office. It's getting up early. It's doing all those things. And it's, really like, not only in the job, but kind of in life in general. It's just really learning how to work hard. And I actually left, I was thinking about this today, I left Vanderbilt and got into my first job. I was a stock trader out of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I had a friend that was in that business. And I had kind of this air about me, like, oh, I went to Vanderbilt, and, thought that a certain amount that it certain things should be, almost like they should be lucky to have me, but it's certain things I should just be kind of given to me, like, that almost in a sense of entitlement, which, look, I mean, coming from Vanderbilt, it's an excellent school, but at the end of the day, I was in a training program in New York, actually in New Jersey, and there was all the other, new hires were in the same training program. And I found out very quickly that I was starting from ground zero, the same place they were. And that really, it was all about hard work and, the dedication to the job, that I didn't end up, really enjoying that profession. And I think that for a lot of student athletes that are coming out of college, or they're graduating, from the NFL or whatever level they got to, or the professional rank that they got to, it is a transition, and it's not always an easy one. And I think that's kind of the reason you started this great company, is that that transition can be hard, right? You have to adjust, you have to learn new skills, and going from being a trader to getting into the real estate field was an adjustment. That's why I decided to go back to school and get higher education, get a master's degree. But I think along the way, being an athlete and learning how to train, learning how to adapt, learning how to adjust on the fly, that those skill sets that you learn from being an athlete at any level, I mean, obviously at the highest level, you have a more honed skill set like you did at the NFL. But I think you really learn how to rely on yourself and to get through tough situations and overcome adversity. So
when you look back on your career, what was the greatest lesson tennis taught you?
The lessons that you learn, I think, really are that you can persevere, that you can do it, and that you have the confidence, no matter what the situation, athletics or not, to really work hard and achieve your goals. So.
And you said something that was very interesting about you didn't know what you wanted to do, but you had friends, and you kind of used your own network of people who open up those doors, because that's kind of the it's almost the irony or the paradox of being an athlete, because for every minute you're spending training, that's one way you're not learning about something else. Right. So part of your success, it actually can set you back in a very obscure way, but it does because of experience. What advice would you give to that athlete that maybe it's just high school and they're like, you know what, this is just not going to happen. I don't want to practice, or I'm just not good enough, right? Or is the guy who's been done playing, has a young family, and is like, I've got to provide. What advice would you give to that athlete that's feeling like they can't do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all goes back to training, to repetition, to, gaining that confidence that you can do it. And whatever the situation that it gets thrown at you, the more that you practice, the more that you play, the more experiences that you go through. I remember when I was, I think I was 11 years old, 12 years old, and just getting on to playing, tennis tournaments. And there were players that I didn't really want to play because I was afraid to lose. And it was like practice matches or tournaments, and my coach said to me, he took me aside and he's like, look, you got to start playing some matches. You need to get out there in the court and be in real game situations. You need to learn how to win. So it's that learning how to win, fighting through the tough situations, that the more and more experiences you can build on that from my experience in sports and in my career has been, there's going to be tough situations. The more real live fire situations that you can go through, the real, challenges. I mean, in real estate, every deal is different. Every person I deal with is a unique situation. And there's challenges that, I have not even dealt with before. So it's a unique situation where, I'm constantly learning, but I'm also every deal I feel like I'm getting better. I'm getting better at what I do, better at the process, better at dealing with different individuals, different personalities. And, going back to your initial thought of the network, I mean, relationships are everything in any business, any situation, in, finding that next job or making that transition to another career. having the right people, having the right mentors, having the right network. I mean, my entire business in real estate sales is based on relationships. It's based on, doing a good job for somebody, having them tell their friends, oh, you got to use Todd if you're going to be buying or selling real estate in Palm Beach. Those kind of leads or those kind of referrals are gold. I mean, you can pay for advertising, you can pay for leads on these different websites. But there's nothing like having a network and growing that network. I mean, that's everything. So, whether it's a transition from being a professional athlete to like a real 9-to-5 job, or, we work every day, especially, in season for sure. But in what's happened in the COVID times, we have, since really March, since that happened, our season essentially it's been like season every day. I mean, it's usually like our season is typically November through April down here, because that's when everybody comes to Florida. It's the winter time. But since COVID, there's been so many people moving to South Florida, from the Northeast, from California now. It's just, people want space. They want to be and they're changing their lifestyle. They're coming to Florida for different reasons, tax reasons, financial reasons, whatever. But we've been working nonstop. So we work every day. We work weekends. We work, I answer my phone all the time and respond to texts all the time. So, but I think, growing up and as an athlete and playing in college, you're juggling so many things. I mean, you learn how to do your homework. You learn how to go to class. You learn how to wake up and go to practice and put in two-a-days and all the things that are going to make you successful, on the court and in the classroom, and balancing all that. I mean, that's being a student athlete, right? I can't speak to what, you did in the pros. I mean, that's got to be a whole different level, but I think, all that training, all that experience, all those challenges, I mean, that just makes you better at whatever you're doing in life. That's been my experience.
And you bring up a really great point in the process, and it's almost simple. It's almost predictably simple.
Right.
Output. So whether you're doing the homework or learning a volley or a serve or cover two, it comes back down to the basics. Yeah. And for me, that was one of the biggest demystifying moments, is when you go into the locker room in Heinz Field or in Three Rivers, before it was doing that, you realize, wait a second, so they're putting on their uniforms just like me. Cover two for the Pittsburgh Steelers is cover two for, rainy day fun high school in nowhere, Iowa. Right. There is no real magic. The magic is actually the day-to-day grind and what you put in. And I think when I was a teacher, I think a lot of kids think like you go through some magic door, like Harry Potter, right? And then you go into the real world where I don't know, right? And that doesn't happen. And what I'm hearing from you is it's as simple and straight. It's not easy. Now, we're not saying it's easy.
No.
But it is straightforward, though. It's not confusing.
No.
And I think
I mean, I was sorry to interrupt, but I mean, there's no substitute for hard work. I mean, that if there's one phrase that I've learned, that's it. I mean, there's no substitute for hard work and putting in the extra. I mean, it's like, you hear all the time. It's like, oh, that quarterback is the first to show up, last to leave. And that's the same at work too. You get there before anybody else and you shut off the lights. Chances are, you're gonna, you might not be as talented as the other people, but you can make up for it in hard work. So, and if you're working on in my business, if you're working on your, growing your network and authentically, building relationships, I mean, there's no substitute for that. So.
Could you give, I think it's geared more towards male athletes, but I think more athletes in general, how do you swallow your pride to open your mouth to introduce yourself? To say, hi, my name is fill in the blank. It's nice to meet you, instead of waiting for everybody to come to you and sign your autograph.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, going back to the beginning of that statement, I think I don't know a business that's not service-based in some way, right? So, you have to have those skills, and look, I mean, the more that you can be relatable and be available to people, that's just going to serve you well. I mean, I think that the more that you can give back, and, whenever, somebody has a question, that's new to the business, for example, I try to go out of my way to answer the questions too. If they ask me to coffee or ask me to lunch, it's never, a bad idea. It should be never something looked on as, you can always learn from the other person. You can always grow from those relationships. And so I think the more that you're putting yourself out there and you're outgoing, and you introduce yourself to whoever it is, the media, the fans, or whoever you're dealing with. I mean, you have no idea who you're going to meet. You have no idea the relationships you're going to form, where that person's from, what their background is, who they might know. You could meet a best friend or a future colleague. You just don't know. So the more you put yourself out there, the more you meet new people. I mean, it can't be a bad thing, in my opinion.
Hey, Todd, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We're going to edit this down. We're going to actually, on Thursday, we're going to the studio to put the episodes together.
Okay.
4 episodes at a time. So we've got to go through, because there's a lot of good stuff, and just figuring out which episode it best fits with. And once we get all that stuff together, man, definitely let you know. Okay,
cool. I'm happy to help, man. We gotta hang soon when this COVID is behind us.
So here's the thing. We've got a website. Hold on, let me stop there.